Okay, welcome to multiplying fractions. A couple things you're going to need. You're going to need something to write with. You're going to need your notebook. You are going to need your book. Why do you need your book? Well, sometimes there's stuff in your book that you might not be able to see on the screen, but it's in your book and it's almost like having two monitors. So have it out, turn to page 312. It's up here at the top. So go ahead and find it. Today, it's right here. Today we are dealing with multiplying fractions. So we've gone through the adding, we've gone through the subtracting, now we're in the multiplying. Okay, so my essential question is what happens when you add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions? Well, today we are starting our multiplying journey in fractions. So we should be able to tell what happens when we add and subtract. Today we'll talk about multiplying fractions, and in a future lesson you'll deal with the dividing of fractions. Okay, make sure you set your notes up. I usually use a line to separate the essential question and some important details on the left side, where I do all of my examples on the right side. This is where all the work goes, on the right side. So any try this problems or you got it problems, put them on the right side, and then any questions that you might have, write them here. And then once you write them here, you have them. When you get to class, put them in the chat. Just copy it straight to the chat and you're good to go, and I will do my best to answer the question. Okay, multiply and then write in simplest form. We have 1/2 times 1/3. So I'm going to rewrite this so we can see it. 1/2 times, and I'll just use a dot, 1/3. Okay, you have to remember when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across. It's not cross multiply. When we multiply, we go straight across. And I'm going to show this out. We're going to multiply 1 times 1. That's going to be my numerator. My denominator is going to be 2 times 3. Now sometimes it'll come out in simplest form and sometimes it won't. But 1 times 1, last time I checked, was just 1. And 2 times 3, last time I checked, was 6. And that's about as simple as you can get, so you don't even have to worry about simplifying it. And that's my answer. That's the simplicity of multiplying fractions. You just multiply straight across. What happens if you get a whole number and we got to multiply it with a fraction that has a negative? Then what? Well, same idea. Take that whole number, place a 1 underneath it, still 2. We're going to multiply it, and we're going to multiply it with a negative number, and I'm going to write something here, and some of you already know. I see different signs, and different signs always mean negative. So my answer is going to be negative. Okay, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. First way is just like we did here. Multiply straight across. Straight across. Okay, I'm going to get a negative answer. I know that because I have different signs. 2 times 3, I'm going to write it out. 2 times 3. 1 times 4, 1 times 4. Put my negative there. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. And I start out with negative 6/4. But there's a couple of things I can do to this problem. I can go ahead and I can divide it out, which means take my 6 and divide it by my 4. And it goes in once. I get my 4. I subtract, I get 2. And I get 1 2/4, which reduces to, use 2, divide by 2. I get 1/2. So I get 1 1/2. Don't forget this is negative. Okay, I'm going to show you something over here. So that's my answer. If I don't do any cross cancel, or reduce, I have to do it at the end. Or if I don't get all of it, I have to do it at the end. Or simplify it. So this is what I mean by that. So let me rewrite this problem up here. If I get 2 over 1, and I'm going to take out the negative right now, and I'm just going to look at the 3/4. And the two numbers I'm going to look at are 4 and 2. And I look at these two and I say, well, what number can go into 2 and 4, or 4 and 2? 2 can. 2 can go into 2 one time. And 2 can go into 4 2 times. And when I end up multiplying straight across, I get 3 over 2. And you might be saying, well, that's not negative 1 1/2 or 1 1/2. Well, when you divide it, it is. If you take that 3 and you divide it by 2, it goes in 1. You get 2. You subtract, you get 1. There's your 1 1/2. And remember, it was negative, so it ends up being negative. So this is called cross cancel. Sometimes you can reduce up and down also. But this is cross cancel, and you reduce it the same way that you would reduce a fraction up and down. But you go crossways. Now you can go this way too, if you can. In this case, we just had 3 and 1. Okay, so take a look at 3. The question is, can I cross cancel? So I'm going to rewrite number 3. I have 2 7s times a negative 3 8s. Can I cross cancel? Absolutely. I have a 2 and I have a 4. And you might be asking, what number can go into both 2 and 8? Well, guess what? 2 can. 2 can go into 2 one time. 2 can go into 8 4 times. And now just multiply straight across. When I do that and I multiply straight across, I get 1 times 3, which is 3. 7 times 4, which is 28. And then we need to look at that. Uh-oh, we got different signs again. And what does that mean? Different signs means negative. You had a negative, you had a positive, and my answer becomes negative. So notice now I don't have to reduce at the end because I took care of it at the beginning. If you can take care of it at the beginning, you don't have to do anything at the end. If you don't do it at the beginning and you just multiply straight across, you'll have to reduce at the end. It is your choice. Try that on these. I'll give you a hint on which ones you can simplify at the beginning. Cross cancel. You could definitely do it to that one. And you can't do it to that one, and you won't be able to do it this one. So on C, you can do it to that one. Good luck. Welcome back. Multiplying fractions. We're on page 313. There's multiple ways that we can do this particular fraction. The best way, the way that I do these, is I take out the mixed number. So it's 1/2 times 4 2/5. I'm going to take my 4 2/5 and I'm going to place it over here to show you how I make this into an improper fraction. How do I do that? Well, I do a little bit of multiplying. Multiply the 5 times 4, and then I add the 2. So what does that mean? I'm going to write it out for you. 5 times 4 plus 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. And so I end up getting 22, keep the 5/5. Now I'm hoping I can do some cross canceling here. So let's put it out there. I got 1/2 times my new improper fraction 22/5. It's the same as 4 2/5. And I look at this and I say, oh, look at that. What can go into 2 and 22? And if you're thinking 2, you're right. How many times does 2 go into 2? 1 time. How many times does 2 go into 22? 11 times. And then you just multiply straight across. 1 times 11, 11. 1 times 5, 5. Now, if you're not for sure on that, I'll write it out. 1 times 11, 1 times 5. And you get 11/5. Well, change that into a mixed number. How do I do that? 11 divided by 5. It goes twice. 2 times 5 is 10. We subtract, we get 1. Well, how do I write that out? 2 is my whole number because it went in twice. My denominator stays the same, 5. What's left over? 1. 2 1/5. So this is my improper fraction. That is the answer. This is my mixed number. That is the fraction. This is the way that I do these. Okay, I do these this way. Why? Because it makes life easier. Okay, there are other ways. You can use the distributive property. Well, first of all, you got to know what the distributive property is. So it makes it a little bit more difficult on this one. Okay, I believe this is the way that I did it. Method 1. But either way will get you to 2 1/5. Okay, let's go ahead and have you try them. Go ahead and try these. Remember, go ahead and take that 3 and place a 1 under it. It's an improper fraction. It'll work for you. Good luck. Word problem. Seems like the word problems always end up at the end. Humans sleep about 1/3 of each day. Let each year equal 365 quarter days. Determine the number of days in a year the average human sleeps. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute. I thought that there's only 365 days in a year. Here's a little science tidbit for you. Believe it or not, yes, there's only 365 days in a year. Yes, you're right, on the calendar. But where do we get that 365 days? Did someone just sit back and say, you know what? Let's make a year equal 365 days. Or did someone actually get that number from somewhere? Well, the answer to that is they got it from somewhere. It takes 365.25 days for the Earth to go all the way around the sun and end up back in the same spot. The problem is you can't have a quarter of a day. So what they did is they said, okay, well, what we're going to do is we are going to have 365 days be our year, and then we're going to have a leap year, which we're going to add a full day to that leap year, and they always add it in February, and they add an extra day in February on leap year to add in that extra day to get us back on track. And that's how they decided to do the calendar system. Unfortunately, though, someone was born on that day in February. There are people out there, believe it or not, that are born on that day in February. So they basically can only have a birthday every 5 years, because the rest of the time that day does not even exist. I know, it's sad, huh? So if you are one of those people and your birthday is coming during a leap year, you better party 4 or 5 times as much, because it's not coming around for another 5 years. Didn't know if you guys knew that or not. You can look it up on Google, leap year. But that's where they get the 365 1/4 days. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Humans sleep about 1/3 of each day. Let each year equal 365 quarter days. Determine the number of days in a year the average human sleeps. Well, that means it's multiplying. if there's that many days and every day we do 1/3, we got to multiply it. So we have 365 and 1/4, and we're going to multiply it by 1/3. Or you can flip it around and you can have 1/3 times 365 and 1/4. Well, remember how I told you you got to get rid of that mixed number. 4 times 365 plus 1. Okay? 4 times 365 plus 1 is going to give you roughly 1,461 over 4. And then we're going to multiply it times 1/3. Oh, I really hope that I hope that 3 can go into 1,461. Well, guess what? It does. It goes in. 3 goes into 3 one time. And 3 goes into 1,461 487 times. Now, if you don't believe me, take out your calculator and put 1,461 divided by 3, and you're going to get 487. Then we multiply. 487 times 1, 4 times 1. Multiply straight across. And you get 487 over 4. Well, of course, we're going to end up with an improper fraction, which basically turns out to be, when you do the division, and we can do the division, 487 divided by 4. 4 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. We subtract, we get 0. Bring down the 8. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Isn't that nice how it all comes out? Bring down the 7. Of course, it's not going to come out on this one. That was a 1, by the way. It's not 2. It's going to have to go back to 1. You get 4. You subtract. Okay. 7 minus 4 is going to be 3. Okay, so we look at this and say, okay, well, 121, that's the whole number. 4 is the denominator. And 3 is what's left over. And so according to this information, the average human sleeps 121 3/4 days a year. That's about 1/3 of the year. So basically, we sleep 1/3 of the year. We're in dreamland. Okay? And this is days. So make sure you put out what it is. I got to erase this here. Days. So happy sleeping. I bet you I wonder what the percentage of this is nightmares. Because you guys sure like to watch your scary movies. And then I'm sure some of you dream about playing video games. Because that's what you do most of the time anyways. Is play video games. Other than, hopefully you don't dream about this lesson. That would be a nightmare. If you're doing that, I'm sorry. It wasn't my intent for you to dream about it. But hopefully you're getting them right in your dreams. Okay, well, good luck. And go ahead and finish up your homework. What you need to do, go to Alex, find multiplying fractions. Good luck. Do some cross canceling. So have a good day.